I thought the game today came down to two teams battling, fighting. It wasn't pretty, but I thought the difference was we gave, our turnovers. We had some costly turnovers down late. A couple that transitioned to some points. I thought that was the difference. Those turnovers that led into some points, and then especially late, they were timely turnovers that I thought changed the game, impacted the game. But everything else, defensively, I thought we fought. Offensively, we got to do a better job. I thought, for the first time, the ball didn't move like we wanted to, and then, we just couldn't get JJ going. We need JJ to really, be involved in the offense. He's a big part of what we're doing. And, again, I thought Clemson did a good job of, keeping him out, pushing him out in those two-man games, not letting him get any angles. I thought they did a good job of that. But, I think, you got to take care of the ball better, especially late. That, I thought that was really, what really, impacted us. We had a couple of possessions where we had the momentum going, and, we turned it over, and, it just kind of killed the momentum. Questions?
Adrian, you guys had really held them down from the three-point line, and then Dylan Harmon made those 2 threes and then scored on a drive. Could you just discuss that stretch where they banged in those 2 threes?
Yeah, I thought we overhelped, and they did a good job of relocating, and that's what happened. He relocated up, and the guy turned, and we converged, and he turned back around and hit him for the shot. Again, the one thing that we wanted to do was make sure that they didn't have a ton of threes. We knew that they would go inside. That's a big part of what they would do. I thought we battled for the most part inside. And I thought we did a good job of contesting the three-point shot for the most part, but those two were big plays. But those things happen. I think we got washed down or overhelped, and they did a good job of driving, and they stopped, and they got relocated.
Adrian, what back tonight? Was a huge second half after some struggles to get going. What were your expectations of him tonight? And did you plan on playing him as much as you did?
Typically that was not the plan, but like most players, once they get going, they want to play, and I thought, the second half was, he really kind of settled down a little bit, and got himself going, and helping the team. Still, still a little rust, but for the most part, he's, I think he's going to continue to get better in that aspect, and I think the team, will get better. We got to function a little bit better. Sometimes when you have those, those insertions, it kind of disrupts things a little bit. Just that's natural. But overall, he definitely surpassed what I expected him to do today.
What did you see from Donnie in his recovery process, and how did he still provide help to this team even while he was away from the court?
He stayed connected with our guys. That's a big thing. What we do, is staying connected. Through injuries, through ups and downs. The one thing that we do is we stay connected, and I thought he did a really good job of helping. Sadiq, Tyler Betts, he just still being in everyone's ear, understanding what we're doing, because he's, this is his second year back. So, he stayed engaged that way with leadership and talking and being involved in practice as much as he could.
Was it any kind of adjustment for the other guys to play with Donnie? Because he's been out for over a month, and they only played, some of these guys, especially the transfers, only played with him 4 games before he got there.
Yeah, it was a couple of possessions. I thought, we had a chance to take advantage of a situation, and it was, you kind of felt like, they didn't kind of recognize that was Donnie in that situation. So a little bit, I thought a little bit. A couple of situations that I thought that we didn't recognize, the personnel, especially offensively. I thought we could have did a couple of things. We missed a couple of things.
Coach Nathan George, 6 assists, but 3 turnovers and 2 of 9 from the field. Do you think he forced some things today? What did you see in his game today?
I thought early he came out, being ultra aggressive. I thought he took, took a couple of shots that, we wish we could take back, but we need him to be ultra aggressive. We need JJ to be aggressive. Again, we thought, that was one of the things that we wanted to do, just because, Clemson is a really good defensive team, so you just can't stand out there on the perimeter pass it around. I thought we did that more in the second half. That kind of got us in trouble a little bit. But the first half, I just thought he came out being very aggressive, and he needs to be aggressive, to back people up. And, we'll continue to be aggressive. That's how we play. We're going to play aggressive on both ends of the floor.
Red, when Clemson is being so aggressive on defense, do you kind of adjust things? Is there certain things that you're telling your players, do this more? Obviously, talk about, being aggressive on offense.
Yeah, typically when you play against an aggressive team, you want to, they had us out, operating our offense a little further out than we would like. So, you got to, offensively, we got to try to get the ball a little bit closer and operate a little bit closer, whether that's walking someone and holding them off. It kind of disrupts the timing. It disrupts a little bit of timing of the play, but you got to be more physical offensively and run with a little bit more pace. So you got to match that physicality when you play against a team that's pushing you out.
You talked about Donnie's performance, but he has some passion. You can see it on the court, whether it's being aggressive or just, engaging with the fans. How important is that moving forward, into the rest of the conference, like to have a player like that on the court that can perform well, but also kind of feed the energy up higher?
Yeah, I mean, it's a part of sports. If you can't play sports, cool or whatever, you got to have some passion, you got to have some energy, and that's what we talk about level 5 and intensity. You got to have intensity if you want to have a chance, just to, to have a chance. You have to play that way, and, Donnie's always been that way. That's part of one of his, attributes is that he is, he plays with that passion, he plays with that energy, and different players do it different ways. Some people are more outward, some people, are a little bit more calmer, right? But you need competitive guys. The one thing I can say about this group, the result wasn't what we wanted, but the fight was there. And, as a coach, as long as you have the fight, you know that you can improve on some things, and we can improve on some things that'll give yourselves a chance. But you got to have a fight. And if you don't have a fight, you have no chance. And again, I was proud that, these guys, we got down by 10, and they clawed their way back in, and, we got it to a one-possession game. Obviously, we didn't work out the way we wanted to, but, the fight is something that we can continue to build on, all right, and clean up some other stuff.
Adrian, the offense didn't really get going until Donnie started going off in the second half. With getting him back in the fold, what do you want the identity of this offense to be?
We would like to, move the ball, share the ball. We have a lot of talented offensive players, but in particular, Donnie and JJ, those guys, they get a bulk of what we're trying to do. Those guys are really good, and they're a big part of what we're doing. So, I thought, we couldn't catch rhythm. Really, the first half, we caught it a little bit, and then, again, Clemson is a, credit to them, good defensively, but some of it was us too as well. We got to catch. We want to be rhythm. We want to play a little bit more flower, freer, movement as far as with the ball. We got guards that are very good with the basketball, so they all can make stuff happen with the ball in their hands. So we got to get it to they got to be able to make plays quick. 1, 2, or 3, they don't have it, get it out. And our bigs got to do a better job of presenting themselves. And those are the things that we can, again, tweak, the pace of it, right? So we want to play a little bit faster offensively.
Coach, there was 11 lead changes in this one, but your guys' largest lead was 1. What do you think prevented you guys from separating and really taking over?
I think we had a couple of turnovers in the first half, I believe. I think we had one we just kind of carelessly lost the ball out of bounds, or maybe not the best shot, or maybe we missed an easy shot. I can't remember in the first half. I thought we had a chance to kind of increase the lead a little bit, and I know we had a turnover in one of those possessions, but we just, again, offensively we didn't capitalize when we had a chance. So our defense, was as good as it, they did it. Our defense was good. Our defense gave us a chance to win, or to compete, to win.
Time for one more. All set? Thanks.
Take care, guys.